And swearing, absolutely feel free to go. Like
Cool.
That's totally fine.
Say cum on stream.
Yes, you can say cum. You can say cum dog on this stream. You can do that. That is in the possibility space.
Those are in the terms and conditions.
Yeah. That is the terms and conditions. You must say cum.
And on that note, welcome back to the ETNA podcast, everybody. My name is DECosmic.
And I am Jaxler, and we are live at SGDQ 2025 with two very special guests and friends of mine. We have Metroid Crime and Ozmourn. Hello, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a
pleasure.
Yeah. So if we, to start, if you just want to introduce yourself and kind of what you do within speedrunning in terms of like events or just kind of what you're involved with and how you got here.
Sounds good. You can go first.
Way to put her on the spot.
I'm trying to be polite.
Yeah.
Jaxler looks directly at you.
Yeah, Ozmourn.
Okay, hi, I'm Metroid Crime, speedrunner, variety streamer. I run Lady Arcaders, which is an all-women's gaming collective. We've been established in 2022, so that's been a while. I can't believe.
Wow, that's 3 years.
Yeah.
We've done 2 in-person events at this point, and 4. No, we're coming up on our 4th charity live stream event in August. So super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Ozmourn. I'm the head organizer of No Glitches Allowed and Complete-a-thon, which are technically one and the same, but I'm also a huge organizer of mutual aid events that help speedrunners in need in the speedrunning community, and I try to make the most of, giving back to the community in the most direct way possible. It probably brings me the most joy, I'd say. And quick plug, the submissions for both of our events is opened at the time of recording this.
These we'll put these in the video description as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because I'm still trying to get that Soul Reaver Hundo run. I will bug you about that. But yeah, awesome. The first thing I really wanted to ask either of y'all is like, how did you go? Because obviously y'all got started somewhere in like speedrunning as the hobby, but how did you go from being someone who just plays the games into like leading communities, organizing events, or just building some kind of skill to be able to like help outside of Play Game Fast?
Don't all speak at once now.
Okay, I can go first.
Yeah.
I have been involved in content creation for a long time, and I've done a lot of charity events aside from speedrunning events.
Okay.
Prior to that, so like we would run like 24-hour plus like charity events for like good causes like the Canadian Cancer Society, etc. Like playing board games and stuff.
Right.
So it is a similar like type of using gaming to raise money for good. But once I got started in speedrunning, I guess, I've been following GDQ for a while already, and it's weird because I didn't before I started Lady Arcaders, I wasn't I wasn't volunteering for a lot of organizations or anything. I just kind of fell into it.
Okay.
But I would submit runs and stuff for a lot of events.
Right.
But then I guess, I don't know, with Lady Arcaders, I just wanted to create a community where we could teach people how to do things and always improving people's skills, which is a good way to do that is by volunteering for events. Because not just you get, you get to help people out, but you're also always improving your skill set, which then you can go on to teach other people. And that's such a valuable thing. That's a valuable experience you can get out of volunteering.
Yeah, and I feel like the speedrunning community, and maybe I'm just blowing smoke, but I feel like the speedrunning community has always for a while kind of struggled with growing their talent and growing people who have skills or things to contribute.
Definitely. And it's weird because it's all volunteer work too, because you get a lot of turnover too because of burnout.
Yeah.
A lot of people volunteer for the same type of events. So it's just something that's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Especially with how, I don't know, speedrunning events I feel are so frequent now. They're every single weekend. It's difficult to put an event on a weekend where there's no one else running something.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm organizing a mutual aid in October, and I had planned that out since I think April. and I messaged every single member in the community that I knew that organized an event. I'd be like, are you doing anything on this date?
Yeah.
I need these dates.
Yeah.
And so if anyone organizes something on that weekend, at that point, I'm just gonna be upset.
Yeah,
But
just fuck you. Yeah, it's just like.
But as you were saying?
Or-
Oh, you're done with
No,
your
I
thought?
was done.
You were done.
Okay.
Yeah, keep cooking on us. You're good.
No. So for me personally, I think speedrunning became like a pandemic hobby for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it first started off. But before the pandemic, I had only like the vaguest knowledge that speedrunning even existed as a concept.
Okay.
I think the only video that I've ever watched of speedrunning was like a speedrun done at like SGDQ 2013
Oh God.
of like Super Mario Sunshine by Tofu.
Oh damn. Okay. Yeah. I
And
know
so that was like even after GDQ had gone out of Mikuyama's basement and into like an actual facility. But
that facility is crazy.
like I didn't really have any
yeah, we were in
concept
this at a penitentiary. Actually.
That's why the acoustics are so good.
Yeah, and I didn't really have any concept of what was going on, or I didn't really know this was an event. I thought it was just a bunch of guys getting together and speedrunning, right?
Yeah.
But then I got more into it during the pandemic. I started watching GDQ. Like my first fully fledged GDQ event that I watched was SGDQ 2020, for the first pandemic one, in which I, for some reason, was insanely interested in the speedrun to The Last of Us by Anthony Caliber.
I see.
Despite never having played The Last of Us before, but I watched the entire thing and I couldn't want to look away. But then as the community progressed, I ended up speedrunning Luigi's Mansion 3 of all games. My first speedrun. But it was just too long for me to keep up with.
Yeah.
For a while I thought, maybe it's not for me. And then I watched AGDQ 2021. I stayed up to watch Pikmin 2, but before Pikmin 2 was a guy named Bobby Berm who ran a game called Light Matter. And I don't know what it was about that game, but it just got me hooked on it.
Yeah.
Within the same week, I bought it, I played it, and I started speedrunning it all before GDQ even ended.
That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
And so I played that over and over again. And then when it comes to like, that kind of led to me joining communities that are of similar games. Such as,
like the indie game, puzzle game kind of
And
communities.
so that kind of jump-started the running portion of it. But when it comes to like organizing, I had discovered the existence of like smaller events in which I volunteered for a community known as No Glitches Allowed.
Yeah.
Back in 2021, April of 2021, where they were doing an event. I think it was No GA 6 or 7. And I volunteered for chat mod, and then I accidentally got put on setup. I accidentally got put on setup. And then I was just like, one of the organizers reached out to me, and I was just like, I can do it. Like, I'll do it. I've never done it before, but I'll do it. And then I did it, and then I got addicted to that.
Yeah.
And I started like volunteering for every single event. I think the first 2 years of my speedrunning experience, I got like, I volunteered and I ran for like literally every single event possible.
I remember.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's how I pretty much found you, because I was like, who's Ozmourn?
Yeah.
Why is he everywhere?
Yeah. I would like volunteer and run at like every single. I remember one time I did 7 marathon runs in one day.
What the heck?
Why?
Because there were like 3 events. There were 3 events going on the same weekend, and I was doing runs for all of them. And I was doing two runs for each of them, but all back to back. And so I was like, that was a really busy day for me. I would never do that again.
I wouldn't either.
But that slowly but surely led to like me just wanting to do more and more in the speedrunning space.
Yeah.
And long story short, I became like an organizer for No Glitches Allowed.
Yeah.
Which I would never have imagined would have happened. And then now I organize a bunch of other events myself as well.
Yeah, No Glitches Allowed was actually the first event I volunteered for.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
And
Sick.
it wasn't the first run I did. I got into speedrunning, I saw 2chan's run of Sonic the Hedgehog for Genesis.
The glitchless run, yeah.
And
There you
that is what caused me to start speedrunning, because I saw her do it and I was like, I know this game really well. I grew up with it. It was my favorite game growing up.
Yeah.
And I like took to it immediately. And the Sonic speedrunning community is like the classic Sonic speedrunning community is so wholesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have stayed with it if they weren't like showing up in chat and supporting me and like offering like help and like hey, I can show you how to do this trick, and like Supersonic was amazing. Like the first time I came to it was the first time I came to a GDQ, I like met up with Supersonic and like we went over like all of the run basically.
Yeah.
He showed me all of his like tricks and everything, and
that's so cool.
It was so cool.
I feel like GDQ has like that tradition too of like people taking each other under their wing.
Yeah.
Like so for me, for example, SGDQ 18 was the first one I went to, and literally the first 2 people I met playing Project M friendlies were Helix and Shenanigans, the Pokemon runner. And Shenanigans, even more so specifically, like kind of took me under his wing. Was like, hey, you want to get like lunch with me and Keyzron? And I'm like, okay, sure. I'm like. Because like to me, it's like, oh, I see this guy who like did this Pokemon run that's like one of the most viewed runs on the GDQ channel. He's like, hey, come hang with us. And I'm like, it's such an alien thing if you're not from speedrunning, right?
Yeah. And it was so weird. Like my first GDQ, like I remember I ran into you and I was like, oh my God, it's Jaxler.
Yeah.
Like that was so cool.
And then nowadays you run into me and you're like, oh my God, it's Jaxler. But
yeah, like it's so cool. Like it's a really special experience getting to come to these events and like learning. Like I pick up so many like I see someone running a speed run in like the gaming room and I'm like, whoa, what is that? Like tell me about it.
Yeah.
And people are so eager to like show off and like help you learn stuff, and it's such a great community.
Yeah. People don't care who you or like what you are. They care who you are and they care that you showed up.
Yeah.
And if you show up, then boom, you have a friend. Sorry, you're stuck with you. Yeah. You know, and that's what's great, right? So I guess that goes kind of into the motivation for like organizing stuff, right? Is like kind of like I would assume like wanting to like kind of give back to that or at least facilitate more of that kind of experience happening.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that's kind of like an IRL in person. So at least that specific phenomena. So I guess another question then would be like how do things like, because obviously a lot of now you've started doing in-person events, which is fucking awesome.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I honestly like we just had our in-person event. I guess it was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But like I met someone, Bunny Spunrina, who
Mm-hmm.
she was one of the very first people to submit something for Lady Arcader's Attract mode.
Yeah.
And I like finally got to meet her, and it was just like it was so cool getting to meet her in person, like someone who's been here from the beginning of the organization to like how we are now.
Yeah.
And, like yeah, it's really, really cool stuff.
Yeah. This is like, you have a face. You're like here.
Yeah,
and I can like
she saw me and she like walked more and she's like, oh my God. And she's like walking like this, like, give me a hug. so great. It was amazing.
the hug walk is a staple. That's what I like to call it.
Yeah.
But I guess the question I was gonna ask is like, how do you like, especially when it comes to like running an event, like how is running in like an online event like a lot different, or your expectations have to change versus something like a GDQ or Out of Bounds Toronto, right?
Yeah. So like with in-person events, it's obviously more difficult to find people to volunteer. But again, like a lot of our with Out of Bounds Toronto, we had a lot of people who would like just want to be involved in everything. So like they'd submit a run and also they would want to host and help out behind the scenes. Just because people are there, kind of like we're only we were a 2-day event this year, so it's like it's short enough that everyone like wants to help out and they're not going to get burnt out because it's only a 2-day event.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus like trying to find like balancing it so like to not make them too overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Being able to focus and like do their runs and do their hosting comfortably. Versus online where it's like, I really like our events because like we have like these voice chats where everyone just like hangs out backstage and all the volunteers like hang out.
Yeah.
That's a really fun thing. But they are very different vibes. But they're both like equally as fun in their own way,
Yeah. Yeah. I think part of kind of what you were talking about with the burnout too, I've kind of noticed this a little bit with GDQ, especially because it's like a week-long event where it's like, especially if you're someone who has a run or or set of shifts even at the beginning of the week, and then you're done, and so you have the rest of the event kind of just floating there. And sometimes I feel like people run into the problem of like feeling the need to do something because like they've already done something, but they've already, it's like, well, now what? And then people try to find more things to do and then get burnt. But I could just be, I could just be dumb.
No.
I had a history of such. I mean, you can ask this guy. I've had a history of some such.
I can neither confirm nor deny this.
No, yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. Like running is one thing, but there's also like a bunch of other ways to give back and to participate. You know, there's a bunch of people here who don't speedrun at all. And
That's like actually amazing. Like the number of people who just like they just want to volunteer and they just love the vibes, but they do not want to speedrun. And like, having the support of people like that as well is amazing. Like everyone working together.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was gonna ask something really good, and then my brain fucking crystal. I guess Cosmic. I don't know if you had any questions for these two, or just anything that was kind of kicking around in your mind.
Not at the moment.
I don't know if anything kicks around in your mind that often. I know it's a bit of a trouble.
I mean,
a bit of a pain point for you.
Past 10 a.m. maybe.
Yeah.
Before then, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I just want to say thank you for your work. I appreciate it a lot. These events would not happen without people like this.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Thank you very much. You know,
and I love doing it, and especially when it comes to the mutual aid events, because they function a little bit differently than the way that I do my normal events, because I tend to invite people to them.
Yeah.
And I also work much more closer to the person involved that we're making money for.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like charity is one thing, and it's still really fulfilling, and it's still you're able to know that you're getting back and that the money you raise is making a good difference in the world. But at the same time, there's the slightest disconnect because you're not seeing directly where your money is going to.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, like the mutual aid events that I do, like you can see in real time the person's life getting better.
Yeah.
That's
like,
really cool.
No, I get that.
That is something that I really appreciate about those events, because that direct through line is like a big sticking point for me, because I do feel like that a lot of like charity events have just like cropped up a lot, and there's a lot of causes that need a lot of money. But like, again, as you said, there's a slight disconnect where you see that money go out and it's like, all right, well,
there it goes.
There it goes. I'm just going to have to hope that they use it correctly.
You don't really see the fruits of the labor until much later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Something I was going to ask is, I remembered my question a little bit. Now I've got a couple, so my apologies in advance. But I just kind of wanted to get you, like, you know, we were talking a little bit about the burnout stuff. I was just curious as to like how you like personally like, well, obviously you can't avoid it because this is hard work, right? But also like, you know, I mean, we're doing literally a panel about mental health. How do you account for the you and like making sure that you stay healthy, like mentally safe? That sounds like a really awful way of putting it, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, how do you take care? How does self-care happen when you're so involved in so many different things?
Normally, I would say terrible question. I'm a horrible person to ask. I'm an overworker. But in recent times, I have made it a more of a conscious effort to delegate work to people who I help, who I bring on to help me with the projects. Right? Yeah. And so for the longest time, I was just like, I'm gonna try and get everything done. I'm gonna try and get all these forms done out in time. I'm gonna meet all these deadlines. I'm gonna make sure that everything is good for every single department and every single person. And then at some point, it just didn't work for me anymore. Like the way that I functioned at the end of at like the beginning of 2024 versus beginning of 2025 are very different, because at some point in 2024 I realized that I need to delegate work. I need to be able to do that if I want to function. And surprise, surprise, it works. And also, surprise, surprise, if you delegate work, it turns out you can do more projects. You can do more with the energy that you have.
Well, when you delegate, that's an opportunity for other people to grow into those roles. That's the other thing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a really good one. And so that's mainly been my focus when it comes to avoiding burnout, is knowing when to ask for help, knowing when to delegate work, and realizing that like you don't have to do everything yourself as much as you want to, because there is a part of you that wants to do everything because you have a specific vision in your mind of how you want things to go. And at some point you kind of let go of that a little bit, or just explain to the person that you're delegating how you want it to be, and they'll make it happen. You know?
Yeah, similar stuff. Because like I'm busy. I don't do this as my full-time thing. Like I have a job. I have several other jobs in addition to all the volunteer stuff I do for Lady Arcaders. And I mean, we have 40 people on staff, on volunteer staff for us, in all sorts of different departments. And that, growing our staff has just made it, like Oz was saying, being able to delegate tasks to people and feel like you can trust them is just it's such a nice feeling.
Yeah.
I've been able, and just having a good support system to chat with, for example, I'm actually I'm not lead of my own games committee for Lady Arcader Super Showcase this year. I delegate.
That's cool.
That's pretty dope.
That's cool.
Yeah. I delegate to NBZ and Laszlo, and they are they're killing it. We ended up they obviously they check in with me for stuff, and I told them I want to be at your meeting where you pick the games in case I have anything to say or whatever.
Yeah.
You need a tiebreaker. They basically just want me around for that. So that's cool. But it's really awesome being able to give for example, Z and Laszlo are both really great at games committee. I had them on my games committee last event. They really know what they're doing. They know how to handle incentives. They're very communicative, and that's amazing. Yeah. And same thing with the rest of my staff. Our social media team, Indy handles a lot of that. JPEG handles that too. And it's just even our department heads, there were 2 of them, so that no one person gets burnt out, because we're all volunteering, and I don't want to do that to anyone.
Yeah,
no one has that much time to be able to do all of it.
Yeah.
So just trying to rotate people, and obviously we always get new volunteers who want to learn, so that is also great to help them get into it, lighten the load for everyone else.
Right.
Yeah. That's wild that you say you're not the head of the games committee, because for me personally, I am the head of every games committee.
No, I know, it's me too. And it was very difficult to get that up this time. And I did it, and I was like, it's fine. I trust them so much.
Yeah.
I feel okay with it.
That's fair. I could never. I feel because the one thing that I derived the most joy from.
I was gonna say, I feel like you just. I feel like you just enjoy doing it too much.
I do too. But I get to still do attract mode stuff.
Yeah.
That's fine. And if we do smaller events that don't require a full games committee, I still get to do those, right?
Well, and part of it too is games committee isn't also, and maybe you can explain a little more. Games committee is not just picking the games.
Oh, no,
it's way more involved.
It's a lot involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're also planning those incentives, planning pricing. How is the pace of the event going?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I unfortunately love every minute of it. It's amazing. It's part of the reason why my mutual aid events, because they're the things that I care about the most. It's part of the reason why I make them invite only, because because creative games committee work kind of fulfills a creative need as well, because to build something and have it be put out into the world. And so being able to essentially make events where you can do whatever you want. Just kind of fulfills my
I love curating events.
Yeah.
Curating events is
Oh yeah. So something else I wanted to pick your brains on, because we're at GDQ now, right? And I know you all are both involved with the actual event in some way. You more directly with working behind the desk a little bit, being staff, which is so sick, and you more so with tables and
tabling,
working a lot with commentators and commentary type stuff as well. I wanted to ask if there's anything, as you started to get more involved with GDQ directly, if there are any things that you have taken from GDQ that you have kind of used to influence the way that you run your own operation.
Hmm.
I'm gonna think about my answer for a little bit.
No, I give you a really.
That one's really tough. I mean,
and there might be the answer might just be immaterial, and that's okay.
Yeah, GDQ kind of set the standard for everything.
Right.
And I mean, when you think about speedrunning, a lot of times people if you bring up Games Done Quick, they're like, oh yeah, I know that. You say speedrunning, and they're like, and then you say Games Done Quick, and they're like, oh whoa. So, I mean, I know GDQ is always changing what they do too.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the communities kind of build from each other, because I mean, a lot of staff at GDQ also run their own independent events.
Yeah.
So it's this weird mishmash of everything. So I don't really know
or maybe it'd be better if I asked the reverse question: is there anything that you feel when you got here you were we do this, why the hell aren't we doing this here, like at GDQ? Is there anything in that reverse thread? And the answer to that might be either
immaterial.
very immaterial or very yes to the point where you don't want to say anything, and that's okay too. But
I don't think there's anything that I would say that I do in my events that like GDQ doesn't do. There's stuff that GDQ does that I don't because I just don't see a need to do it. Or
some of it's scope, obviously.
Because like there are certain things that GDQ does because of how big they are and how big their staff is, and because of how much like production needs to go into it. Like for example, like GDQ has games committee, and then they also have like producers and directors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like they or like broadcast producers, right? For smaller events, for the most part, those are one thing. Because like the amount of work that's, or at least for my events, I know for your events,
we separate it out.
For my events, like the amount of stuff that like producer does. If your job was purely to like just watch stream and like direct the flow and make sure that people come in at the right times and have all the things flow correctly for the next run, there's going to be a lot of times where you're not doing anything at all. So, but also if you're just doing games committee work and you're just like opening incentives, closing incentives, communicating for the producer, there's going to be a lot of times where you're not doing anything at all. And so, but I imagine for your events, it's grown a little bit to the scope where it's kind of necessary to.
Yeah, it definitely is necessary, and like like we do have games committee on call because I think that's very important. Like just having someone on shift to be able to like see how the incentives, how the flow is going, and usually like last class we were just literally in the voice call together like the entire event, whether we were on call or not. So it was kind of like it didn't matter too much.
So it really depends on the event itself. Like my events haven't grown to the point where those two roles are like need to be separated, and so we combine them into one kind of thing and just put it all under the umbrella of producer.
Is there an element to if you have too many different types of roles, then like certain things don't get filled, or there's kind of like almost like bloat, if you will?
I think for my personal event, I think it's the opposite. I think having the extra roles helps define everything for everyone, so they have one single task they have to do.
Or their expectations are set.
For my events, it's a little bit of that, where it's like, it's just, I have tried to separate like games committee and producer, and it comes up with the problem where it's just like, they're just not doing, there's a long time where they're just not doing anything. So for the time being, those two roles are separated, or two roles are like combined. I would love to get to a point where it's big enough where we can separate those two things and like have enough work for people to do. But for now, it's like I want people who are involved and like want to volunteer, like work on, especially if I'm bringing them on to be producers, to like have work to do.
Yeah. Do you have the same? You get different producers every time, though, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have like a consistent organization. Like you're not like mutual aid network marathons type of thing. Like you just do events.
No, I do. I have an instance of the GDQ tracker, hosted by my dear friend Cubsroll, who and I have all of my mutual aid events listed there. And so we can go back and like look at all the producers for the events if we want to, but it's never the same people. It's always like, I want to work with new people. I want to work with people who I've never worked with before on any real scale. And so I try to change the staff, the producers every single time.
If possible.
So if possible.
You're going to run out of people at some point, but that is really cool. And speaking of running out of people, something that kind of came to my mind a little bit is like, are there any? I'm hoping that people watching this at home like might see this and be like, oh, I really want to get involved or volunteer or something like that. But I was just wondering if there are any like volunteer roles that you find are typically pretty under like staffed, or just like
I have so much.
Like people that typically
I was going to say all of them.
Well, all of them, I'm sure all of them. But any like particular roles that like people seem to gravitate towards the least, and you'd like to see more enthusiasm for?
Social media. It's so much fun. I think people get intimidated by the fact that it's social media.
That is unexpected.
I
did not expect that.
People don't want to write content for some reason, but if I frame it as join the media team.
Make memes,
make memes.
Make
it's
memes.
Much like I feel like I get more people who are like, sure. Versus social media, and it's like, I don't know, it's a lot of pressure.
For the longest time, people would never sign up for social media. For Multithon, we had like 16 volunteers that signed up for social media, which is the biggest we ever had.
That's awesome.
That is
But
dope.
here's the thing: I know for a fact that social media is like very like low on volunteers, and I don't mind saying this because I know that Carrie is very open about this. AGDQ got 16 volunteers for 16 people who signed up for. Social
That's
media.
it?
Yes.
That is
For a
very small.
for an event the size of GDQ.
That's
that is
For like
incredibly
the
small.
AAA
Only 16
speedrunning event.
Only
Yeah.
16 people volunteered for
Wow.
social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's wild. I will say, I feel like there's that problem exists for like most roles to a certain extent, except host.
Yeah, host is and
Oh,
chat
yeah.
mods. Chat
Which
mods
is
get-
weird because I feel like when I entered the scene, like people didn't really want to host, and now it feels like everyone wants to host.
Yeah.
It's really become.
I
huge.
think
And I
hosting has kind of become like not quite being the runner, but like the next kind of thing where if people feel like they can't run or play a game, this is like the thing to shoot for.
I could fill an entire podcast episode about my thoughts about that.
about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Which might be why there's a rise in hosts, is because of the rise of podcasts.
Yeah.
Too. So we're
We
part
might
of the
be
problem.
we might be part of the problem, but nobody asked. You know, it's like
Nobody asked. So I guess my question too is like regarding scope and scale. Do you think it's now like maybe not necessary, but recommended to get started in online organizing, or can you just kind of jump to in-person organizing?
I think you can really do either. I mean, it depends.
I'm sure there's more opportunity costs with in person just because you have to
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
hardware.
The means
But
of
also,
travel, yeah.
you gain, regardless of whether you're like, when you're online, you can still get that experience. So that when you apply for something in person, you'll already be like higher up on like consideration because you have some sort of experience from doing it previously.
Yeah, generally speaking, I don't know if I jump in to the deep end when it comes to in person, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Unless you want to, in which case, like there's nothing necessarily wrong with that.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I think starting out online definitely helped a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being here in person, being able to see the ins and outs of everything, I feel like if I didn't do online stuff at first, it'd be a little bit overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
And so, but obviously that's to each their own because I don't think in person is so overwhelming to the point where it's like you need to do in person, you need to do online before you do in person.
Okay.
But generally speaking, I do think that doing stuff online before in person is beneficial to some extent.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like maybe, a decade ago when things were a little rougher, things were still kind of getting defined. In person, you could probably jump into a little easier, but
Yeah.
now everything is so structured. Everybody is so like well experienced.
It's so much
like-
more well documented
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, exactly. Documentation is huge for small organizations and stuff. Like, I feel like that is like just a really useful thing to have in general.
Yeah, especially on the tech stack. Like type
Yeah.
of,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
I remember Power Up with Pride having like their RTMP like setup documentation, and when I first got into that, I was like, I felt really dumb just like trying to scroll through the Google Doc because I'm just like, I feel like I should be understanding this, but I'm not understanding. It is an RTMP thing, so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
Well, I mean, like the useful thing is when they have a guide plus they give you an orientation. to
Yeah,
run through it.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm also a huge believer in like, and there's one thing that helps when it comes to documentation and stuff like that, and I'm a huge believer in this. It's weird because a lot of people have their own opinions on this, but I'm a huge believer in like not giving people more information than they need.
yeah,
I'm with that.
Like,
Yeah.
It's
yeah, we can do that.
not giving people more information than they need because a lot of people like to consolidate all the guides into like one thing where everyone can just access it. Where it's just like, no, I want to give people just the guides that they need, and
Yeah.
they don't need to know the rest of the information. It's going to be overwhelming to them.
Yeah,
Like, why does the runner need access to the restream guide? You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Well, go ahead.
I guess the last thing, maybe a quick one, if we have time, is any funny stories or like, I don't know, maybe horror stories or something like that, just anything silly to share that you've experienced in the process of doing this, if anything comes to mind. If not, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was just curious if you've seen any like weird crap over, because I'm sure you've seen weird
Yeah,
crap,
I mean,
but
of
like,
course, yeah. I mean, not thing I can really talk about.
Oh yeah, I'm sure NDA exists.
Something that I could tell you when we turn the cameras off.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, there's so much.
We're in the middle of something
problem.
right now.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Oh,
literally.
boy.
So.
I should have thought about that before I asked the question.
That's okay.
But-
yeah, no, yes, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, there is weird stuff that has happened.
But
yeah.
I'm sure. But obviously, hopefully, it's still definitely worth it to keep doing all
I
this.
would not
Oh, yeah.
stop.
Never.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
talk about it.
You wouldn't call it like toxic all the time.
No, I mean, like,
yeah.
those people, just get them out of
They
the
gotta go.
community. Like, leave.
Just go
Just go away.
Go away.
But yeah, I mean, again, thank you both for joining us for this. First of all, where can people find you, and where can people sign up to submit to your next event?
You can follow me personally on twitch.tv/Ozmourn. I don't stream a lot of my speedruns, but of course I do stream like archipelago stuff with you and other friends that we have. And you can, my current event that I'm organizing right now is Complete-a-thon 2025. Submissions for that are open until August 1st at midnight PT. It's an event all about completionist speedruns. And yeah, you can find it on the Oangus page and also our Discord.
I think it's called Angus.
Angus.
Oh, I hate
Wow.
Swedish. So much.
It makes me hungry, and that's the annoying part.
But yeah, that's where
And those will be linked in the description, by the way. So
I've been Metroid Crime. You can find me twitch.tv/Metroid Crime, or you can go on my website. LadyArcaders.com. To submit, you have to be woman or femme, except for if you want to apply for volunteering to take clips for the event, and then all genders are welcome. And you can apply on the Lady Arcaders website at ladyarcaders.com.
yeah, awesome.
Well, this has been Even Though Nobody Asked, so see you next week.
See you next week,
Have a great rest of GDQ when this goes up.
or else.
Or else. See you.